Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Monday, the 15th of April. All right, now as we head into a shorter week with Easter on this coming weekend, the currencies, major currency pairs, there's a few pairs that have actually sort of broken the shackles and given us a little bit of direction, and they are the dollar yen. Okay, a bit of a, I don't know which way you want to look at that, whether it's a traders feeling more confident with what's going on, so the safe haven plays out. Bit of dollar strength, but then the dollar's struggling against everything else. So it's a bit of an odd one. The Aussie kicking to the top side. The Japanese trade figures late in the Asian session Friday were a little bit better than expected. It took a while for the Aussie to get going, but it is starting to break hourly, daily resistance trend line. So there's a chance for it to short term probably to keep going, but it is battling a sort of downward sentiment fundamental outlook. And you saw the other day where this move in the Aussie was pretty short term and then it flicked back around. So we'll have to watch that as we play out Monday and just let the markets reconnect. Now, if you're having a look across the various news outlets, you'll see China is starting to, or the Chinese news is once again starting to come back into vogue. And I'm not surprised. So you've got, there'll be more information obviously around their numbers. We've got the Chinese trade balance figures there. Interesting stuff is the IMF seem to be getting involved. They want the China-US trade deal to address structural issues. And then you come into, we're looking at a G20 and they're talking about a trade truce and all this sort of crap. So you're going to see more of that come into play, especially now that Brexit, we've got that extension back to Halloween, October 31st. So we may see a little bit more interest in sterling and it not move so crazily all the time. Now, let's just have a look at the core market things. Now, this is like looking at the form guide if you are into the horse races, which I am. So market conditions today, well, the majors are drifting sideways. Mondays are notoriously poor for direction, as in like just drifts around as the markets reconnect. Where's our core market drivers? Well, China and the US relations is kicking in. Of course, Brexit will still be sitting there. But as I said, now that we've got that bit of an extension, it takes the pressure off the British lawmakers. So we may see less Brexit news at this point. It was quite frantic the last couple of weeks as they were chopping and changing every day. Now, so how is the week shaping up? This is actually structurally almost a better week for trading as far as the fundamental releases go, because we've got data spaced out and it's just numbers. Okay, so I'll just sort of cruise down along the list here, and you'll see the what we have got. The Bank of Canada Business Outlook Survey. Just be careful with that. They could be rather loose. But the traders meeting on Monday evening. Then you got the RBA monetary policy minutes. Then we get into all the data. Okay, so you're looking at Tuesday, the Chinese GDP. Average earnings, employment change or claimant count change in the UK, the German ZEW economic sentiment, manufacturing sales. So you run through the Kiwi CPI. These are all great big numbers, and there's not a hell of a lot of central bankers. Now, we've got Carney speaking here on Wednesday. That's probably the only component. Then you come down into Thursday's trading. We'll be running a live webinar there for the workshop attendees. The Aussie employment change, big number for the Aussie. And then you run into a whole range of retail sales figures in the German flash manufacturing data. So this is like a nice laid out week where traders will be looking just at the numbers and working around that variance. So I think this has got a lot more shape, especially you take out the non-farm payrolls, which creates tension in the market. There's liquidity issues as liquidity pulls out ahead of the non-farm payrolls. That's out of the way. We get a chance to hopefully focus on the fundamental outlook for some of these pairs and try and piece together. Obviously, the RBA, very important for the Aussie fundamental outlook come Tuesday. All right, guys, that's pretty much it from me. I mean, if you have a look across the charts, I'll just give you a quick have a look at the majors. It's, as I said, there's the Aussie, there's not a hell of a lot going on. The Aussie has sort of just pushed above the top side there. I'm not overly convinced the Aussie's going to keep going. Technically, it's going up, fundamentally down. The Kiwi, the battler, well, we've got the Kiwi CPI numbers this week. Very important for the Kiwi. There's not many economic numbers coming out. The current sentiment from the RBNZ is down, even though the currency's just popped on the hourlies here. So just be aware, it's not as as plain Jane, simple trading as you think. Dollar yen finally just kicking into gear, the top side. I mean, that's anyone's guess if that keeps going. The euro, it's done a great job to get back to 113, and I would expect it to sort of sit there until we get some more clarity around some of these numbers. Sterling looks a little bit more structurally range-bound now that we've got that extension. And dollar CAD, well, it's hanging in there around 133 despite oil around 63.5. I'll just see how that plays out during the week. We do have quite a lot of Aussie and Canadian data this week, so they will be the key pairs to keep an eye on as we go through the week. All right, so today I'd say the good idea, that the smart thing to do is actually have a look, obviously, at your charts, get your technical perspective sorted out and see if you've got clear direction on any of these pairs, and then start to go through the calendar and start piecing out where the best opportunities are going to come into play with either the pairs that do have direction or at least a fundamental direction on top of that. All right, guys, have a good trade week. We'll see you in the 247 trade zone. Cheerio.